teach me to try to take a sip of coffee while I'm tapping my cigarette. You'll probably notice that my voice is pretty rough this morning. Apparently spending five hours in conversation when I rarely spend more than 20 minutes speaking in the run of a day is actually pretty hard on the vocal cords. So there won't be any live poetry reading today. My voice simply isn't up to it. And actually, truth be told, I think I've got some sort of a throat infection. Not quite feeling like razor blades when I swallow, but pretty close. But anyway, today I was going to talk about skills and how practical skills are important. And a lot of times people tend to both underappreciate and overestimate skills. Having taught myself to do this, speaking of, there we are, is that a bit more centered? Having taught myself, yeah, that's better. 1 second. Yeah, it's definitely some sort of infection. Sinus from the feel of it. So I guess some sort of sinus infection that spread to my throat. I'll probably be fine tomorrow. I've got what amounts to a very, what the hell is that? Bit of sawdust. Right along this line here, there's pressure right along here. In fact, I look kind of puffy. So, yeah, I've got some sort of illness. Sorry, some sort of transitory illness. I'm already aware of a couple of acute ones. But, to go back to skills, teaching myself how to set this up, just to make these videos, that's a skill I didn't have in January, for example. I had to teach myself how to light, and all I'm using is the natural light from a window. I'm still working to learn how to use a video editor. I seem to have gotten the hang of Discord. Yeah, Discord. I was going to say Discovery, but I don't use Discovery. But I seem to have gotten the hang of Discord. So that's pretty good. At least on a basic level. I'm sure there are probably hundreds of little aspects of Discord that I haven't picked up yet. But that's one thing. But that's one of the things that people tend to underappreciate is their self-taught skills. Now, I've played with cameras since the first VHS camcorder came out, and actually taught myself how to do a special effect camera trick with that. It was just a simple editing disappearing trick. Pause button disappearing trick. Those of you who have never even seen a VHS tape will have no idea what I'm talking about. It's like a game cartridge that has reels of magnetic film in it that records sound and video. Extremely primitive. How to put it? Yeah, extremely primitive recording equipment, computer encoding equipment. Good gods, I'm old. Anyway, uh, pretty sure it's not cancer. But, yeah, a lot of people tend to underappreciate the skills that they teach themselves. And a lot of the time, it's those informally acquired skills that can be the most reliable and the most, not necessarily profitable, but the most, yeah, I'm not doing well this morning with the language use, which is ironic because language is one of my bigger skills. I'm just going to finish this and then I'll start again right here. Okay. One of the things that a lot of people tend to do, and employers are very, very guilty of this, is to ignore informally acquired skills. Partly because there's no certification for them, but a lot of, I tell you, I'm right on the edge of taking a sick day. But what's the point? I don't have an actual job. So what can I take a day off from? The thing with informally acquired skills is that they tend to be very primitive, certainly, because you're not learning those skills from, or in general, you're not necessarily learning those skills from someone who's advanced to the master level in that skill set. And a lot of the time what that leads to is inefficiency or inelegance. In the case of a lot of men that I knew growing up here in Newfoundland, they had skills that had been passed down from their fathers. For example, woodworking, but, well, carpentry, really. But the carpentry skills that they had were, the inefficiencies come from not being able to optimize. For example, just to grab a random piece of wood here, if you needed to make, say, 6 pieces from this, but they needed to be different sizes, the inelegant person might say, well, I need 4 pieces that are this long. So they'd cut 4 pieces out of that. But then they might discover that all of this waste is now waste. Let me just flip that. So from there up becomes waste. However, if they had taken the time or known how to optimize, they may have gotten another piece out of this for what they needed. So that's where the inefficiencies can come from. The inelegance can come from not being trained by a master craftsman, and then your work ends up looking rough because you don't know how to finish it. And that doesn't mean how to complete the job. That means how to, well, in a sense it does, but in this context, the word finish is being used to indicate knowing how to do polished work, or the best looking work you can do. I've seen a lot of, let's call it home carpentry, where the ends of boards don't necessarily miter together properly. Close but not quite sort of things. And some of that can come from the fact that not understanding how to get a precise cut close enough tends to be a problem. And to be fair, a lot of home budgets for things like building a deck, for example, you simply can't afford to have to trim a board more than once or twice. Now, one of the things with a polished skill learned from a craftsmaster. Just a second. Oh yeah, it's definitely an infection of some kind. But one of the things you learn from a craftsmaster, or a master craftsman, which I imagine before too long will be a sexist term that you're not allowed to use anymore, if it isn't already. Hell, you probably can't use the word master for that anymore. This terminological redefinition, reformulation thing is insane. It makes it much harder to have a conversation about something. That by itself should be reason enough to go, no, you're retarded, leave it alone. But anyway, and yeah, not getting monetized. Never getting monetized. Mostly because I refuse to alter the way I speak. Yeah. It's because I'm a bad, what was that word? Picked it up on the Sultan's History. WAM. White, able-bodied, heterosexual male. I'm not cis anymore, now I'm WAM. Yeah. Went from being sissy to being WAMing. Again, this linguistic subversion is... yeah. Anyway, when you pick up a skill from a master craftsman, you acquire hopefully, the deepest knowledge, the most arcane knowledge in a field. For example, if I wanted to learn coding, I wouldn't just pick up Coding for Dummies as a book. I would go and take a proper coding class. Preferably taught by someone who has experience and knowledge in the field. Coding. But really not feeling this today. I'm just looking around at the chaos in here and thinking, you know, one of the skills you should have is fucking organizing. Yeah. Well, that's why there's cabinets on the walls. They're all still empty, so that's the task for today, is to get everything decluttered and as much of it put away as possible. Other than that, I was still talking about skills, underappreciated skills, and informal skills. That's no good. I don't like being this far away from the camera. Plus, it's uncomfortable to sit back. I hate this chair with a passion. I actually had to take cushions from 2 old chairs and put in it because it's just uncomfortable. And of course, now I can hear, well, the voice of my conscience, and probably a few of you guys going, "Why don't you build a chair? You have any idea how expensive wood is right now?" But to be fair, yeah, I could build a chair and probably be happy with it. Which I very well may do, actually. That may be a project I'll do. Speaking of projects to do and skills, I'm still, as I said, trying to learn video editing. I've got a hell of a sunburn. Didn't realize it was still that pink right across my nose, too. Ironic, considering I don't drink anymore. But that was easily distracted, weren't you? Anyway, one of the skills I'm trying to pick up is video editing. So I've done a brief web search this morning for free drag and drop video editing software. So at some point today, whenever I feel like sitting down at the computer, which is, to be fair, rare. I will be going through different programs and seeing what I think will work for me. Um, when it comes to editing, I'm not particularly concerned with finish. I want it good enough. Uh, for example, one of the things I'd like to do, and I think I will, is to take the camera, set it up in that end of the shed, which basically looks at everything else in here, and leave it there recording so I can do a time lapse of my organization. Uh, so that would require uh, editing out tiny clips, and that's what I'm looking for is some program where I can just put a cut and a cut, take that clip, throw it into a new document, and just do that over and over. Now, I am sure there are programs that would allow me to do that much easier, probably in a much more efficient way than having to go one by one. But at this point, I'm not advanced enough to do that anyway. Uh, I'd like to be able to set up an intro for my live stream using music from one of my friends, who has graciously agreed to let me use some of his music. And what else? Yeah, and fade in, fade out, that sort of thing. I'd like to be able to do that. I have no idea how to put thumbnails at the end of my videos. And these daily videos, I mean, I really just want to focus on making the video, on the speech, rather than have to focus on, okay, where do I need to stop talking, things like that. That's not the level I want to reach anyway. With which is different than my woodworking. My woodworking, I want to be a master of that. And I work very hard to get my work as clean and as precise and as good as possible. For example, this is a little box I'm building. Now you can see on the back it's burned. That's intentional. I had originally thought, I'll make myself an ashtray as a simple project. But as I was working, I realized that no, I can actually make a box out of this. Now I've drilled out the interior of it. You can see where the drill struck the bottom. Did not go through. This is taped because there's actually a pretty large knot hole right there, which while I was working on it, I noticed the knot was rising. It was rising out the back. I glued it in, and simple tape clamp for glue. I've also got the sides taped because it's a little soft. I may have made the ends a bit too thin, at least this end, and this is end grain. Because it's end grain, it doesn't really hold together as well as the rest of it. In fact, it's loose, so this may be a completely scrapped project. It may not be completable in its current condition. But what I'm going to do is I have I can actually get that on camera. I have a Dremel with a carving burr, and that's how I did most of the bottom of this. I guess you could call it power carving or power whittling. I'm not sure if there's a proper term for it. I just think of it as hand routering, I suppose. But I'll make a few more passes on the bottom until those holes, the Swiss cheesing, is removed, and get it one flat surface, hopefully without going through it and destroying the piece. As you can see from just in here, there's a fair bit of glue squeeze out. That's what this shiny stuff is around the sides of this knot. And wow, I just hit 20 minutes, and I'm probably going to be 20 minutes more if I keep going. Excuse me. But your level of skill acquisition depends on what you want to be able to do with that skill as well. For instance, if you want to be able to carve steaks from an animal you've hunted, take a butchery course. Or find someone who knows how to do butchery and ask them if they would show you. And most skilled people are perfectly happy to talk about their skills. I could easily spend 15-20 minutes talking about that. But it's not just that they're willing to talk about them. A lot of them want to pass on those skills. And the only way to pass on skills is to teach. So you have to learn, then teach. And that is one of the ways that you come to realize you've become a master of your craft, is when you can teach someone to do at least as good a piece of work as you do. So, yeah, anyway, that's it for me. I'm flagging pretty badly. I will probably spend part of the day making that long video showing me organizing this shed. And then I have 2 projects I really want to finish and see if I can't get paid for my work at a reasonable rate, which is very difficult most of the time in southern Newfoundland. It's horrendous to have to say so, but a lot of people will turn their nose up at handcrafted items and go, and I've had this happen, well, I can find something just that good at Walmart. No, you really, really can't. But, hey, suit yourself. But anyway, folks, that's going to be it for me this morning, possibly for the day. I do still feel a burden of debt for missing a video on Friday and for not doing my live stream yesterday, my own live stream. But given that there are so many live streams on Saturdays, I have been thinking about changing the timing of my live stream. So if you're watching this and you have an idea of a good time to do a live stream where you would be able to participate, my live streams are the eternal AMA. Ask me anything, I'll answer any question. No shit's given. And, you know, if it's something I can answer on YouTube, I will. If it's not, I may very well save up questions that I don't think can be answered on YouTube and do them either on Gab or BitChute, Odyssey, somewhere where I can use the use language that might not be acceptable to Mama Susan. Other than that, I hope you're all having a good day. I'm going to go sleep because I clearly need it. And probably, and that's weird, somewhere in there my cough drop disappeared. Anyway, yeah. Other than that, you know, I hope you're all having a good day. Take it easy. Love you all. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.